Hi, I'm Brandon Ireton with the Lone Star Conference. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk with head women's basketball coach at Angelo State, Sally Brooks, as part of the LSC Basketball Online Media Day. All right, Coach Brooks, heading into the season, new complement of players. What did you learn about the team during the offseason?
Well, I've been doing this a lot of years, and I'd say it's been a long time since I've had a team that has this much team chemistry. They seem to really work well together on the floor, and that they really like each other off the floor. They don't seem to be very cliquey, even though we have a very young team and very few upperclassmen. The upperclassmen are being great leaders. I think that's another thing that you never know going into a year. During the off season, they set great examples of how hard a ball basketball player is supposed to work, and they're just getting along great. So that's very encouraging. Talk about your upperclassmen and who's stepping up in those leadership roles. Well, we don't have very many upperclassmen. Technically, we only have 3. Paige Weiston's our senior, and she's been a leader all along. So that's not any different. And then we have the twins, the Youngblood twins, and one of them was hurt, so that made us even younger. And Ashley James is the other junior, and Morgan and Ashley, they're the hardest workers on the team, so they definitely lead in the weight room, conditioning, that sort of thing, and they understand the offense and defense. So really, all those upperclassmen are being great leaders. Talk about the freshmen you brought in and what kind of impact you'll see from them. Well, the biggest thing I learned about the freshmen in the off season, and again, we don't really know until competition starts, but they're extremely smart. I knew they were hard workers, and I knew they were smart in the classroom, but that doesn't always carry over onto the basketball court. But they're very, very smart. We're a lot further along now than we normally are. Like I said, a lot of that's from the example from the upperclassmen, but the freshmen they pick up very quickly, and they pick it up, and we move on, and they just work hard and have great attitudes, and so we're getting a lot accomplished in practice. Going into the season, what's going to be the most important aspect that your team has to focus on? I think right now it's really going to be interesting just to see which players step up. I think it's anybody's opportunity. It's not like we returned a bunch of superstars. We had a lot of injuries last year, so there was returners got a lot of playing time. But we brought in some really quality freshmen, so that's kind of exciting. It's really anybody with opportunity, and kind of be one of those things where they either compete or they don't compete. And so I think that's what's going to be the key, is if we have some people really step up and bring it to the floor every night, I think it'll be a really exciting year. Playing in the Lone Star Conference, what kind of competition does this conference bring? Well, it's always great competition. It's a great conference. I'm excited about the new conference, so to speak. Just as far as the travel, I like how we're going to play each other, home and home, that sort of thing. I think for basketball, it's an improved as far as scheduling. But the competition's always going to be tough. We had a new champion last year in TW. WT and Tarleton, Abilene. They're always going to be tough, and so it's the same old, same old. You got to be ready every night and step out there. Your team is always out in the community doing things to be seen and also to give back to the community. What specifically were some things they've done this year? Well, this year, just getting ready for the exhibition game versus Texas Tech. We have that they are coming here, maybe once in a lifetime type thing, where Division I's coming to play us, and so we've been out in the elementary schools and middle schools that wanted us to come out and to hand out tickets and talk to the kids. This year, the SAISD's focus is encouraging school kids to go to college, even at the elementary level. And so it was a perfect time for us to go out there, and we just talked about what it was like in college and what they needed to do to prepare to go to college, and hopefully encourage them to be thinking about that. So that was something we've just recently done. Probably the thing we've always done a lot of community service, but the thing we're probably most proud of is how we started last summer. We do a route for the Meals for the Elderly, and we do it all season long. We do it all summer long. Every Friday, 2 players, or a player and a coach or whoever can get it done, does a route for the Meals for the Elderly, and I'm just really proud of the players being committed to that. And like I said, they even get it done during the summer.